The cafe woke early, before the sun had warmed the street. The baker slid trays of croissants into the oven. The first espresso hissed. The lights hummed on, one by one, until the room felt like a gentle morning. Eli arrived a little before his shift. He liked to be early. It gave him time to settle, to breathe, and to say hello to every person on the team. He wiped his shoes on the mat, straightened his cap, and smiled at the smell of cinnamon drifting from the kitchen. He checked the day's task sheet on the clipboard. His name was next to front counter. He traced the letters with his finger and nodded. He knew the steps by heart. Greet with a smile. Confirm the order. Repeat it back. Check the name. Check the cup. Check the lid. Say thank you. He had learned these steps from Jana, the manager, who always said, "Care is the secret ingredient." Eli liked that line. He repeated it to himself the way a runner repeats a rhythm. Before opening, the team held a quick huddle. Jana stood with a marker and drew 3 short lines on the whiteboard: be kind. Be clear. Be quick. She looked at Eli. Want to add one? She asked. He thought for a second. Be calm, he said. Everyone smiled. They clapped softly. The marker squeaked as Jana wrote it down. The room felt ready, like a stage waiting for the first note. At 8 a.m., the bell on the door chimed, and the first wave of regulars came in with their soft hellos and sleepy eyes. Eli greeted them by name whenever he could. Good morning, Mr. Park. Hi, Denise. Oat milk latte today. He liked the way their faces changed when they felt seen. He watched for small details. A new scarf. A bandaged finger. A book tucked under an arm. How's your reading going, he might ask. Or that color looks good on you. Little things, but real. The morning moved like a gentle river. Cups clinked. Steam rose. The drawer of the cash register slid and clicked. The baker brought out warm muffins, and someone said, "Oh, that smell." Eli smiled again. He arranged the stack of sleeves so they were even. He checked the napkin holder. He lined up the lids. He enjoyed straight lines and even stacks. They made him feel steady. Around 11:30, the calm river began to swell. The lunch rush was early today. People filed in from the offices nearby, talking about deadlines and meetings and quick bites. A stroller rolled in and parked by a corner table. A group of friends gathered near the pastry case, debating which cake to split. The line bent and curled toward the door. Eli took a breath and kept his rhythm. Greet. Confirm. Repeat. Check. 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 Thank you. At a small table near the window, a man in a cap sat with a book. He had an easy posture, the kind of quiet that does not ask for attention. He lifted his eyes now and then, not to judge, but to notice. He liked watching how people change when they are kind to each other. He liked the soft ballet of a good team. He turned a page and took a small sip from a cup that had gone lukewarm. The cap cast a shadow over his eyes, but there was a gentle focus in them. He was Keanu Reeves, though no one had said his name out loud. It did not matter to him. He was simply a guest who enjoyed a calm corner. Jana moved behind the bar like a conductor, keeping the rhythm. 2 cappuccinos up, she called, then smiled at Eli. He was handling the rush with steady hands. His voice flowed the same way each time, a clear pattern that helped him stay centered. Hi there. What can I get you? Great. That will be ready soon. Your name? Thank you. He turned the cup so the name faced out. He liked it when things were easy to see. A new order came in with many special requests. Extra hot. Half syrup. Double shot. Oat milk. 1 stir only. Eli wrote it down, checked it, and repeated it. The customer nodded quickly and moved to the side, already tapping a phone. The next person said, "I'm in a bit of a rush," with a tight smile. "I'll move as quickly as I can," Eli replied, still calm, still clear. He moved the cups in the right order on the bar, like steps on a path. Outside, a small breeze pressed a paper flyer against the window. The sun shifted, and the room turned brighter. The bell kept chiming with each new person. The line grew 3, then 5, then 8 people long. "We've got this," Jana whispered, a hand on the espresso handle. The grinder buzzed again. Milk steamed. The team moved like one. The man with the cap turned another page. He looked up when a child laughed at a foam heart drawn on a hot chocolate. He looked up when an older woman sighed happily over a fresh scone. He noticed Eli's patience with a teenager who changed his mind twice. He noticed the way Eli thanked the dishwasher for swapping a tray at just the right moment. He enjoyed the hard work that looked gentle. The door chimed again. A new customer stepped in and looked at the line with a quick shake of the head. He checked his watch. He took one step, then another, weaving to the front without looking at the faces around him. He stopped at the counter, close enough that Eli could see the silver watch catch the light. Eli finished the order he was working on. He did not skip steps. He placed the finished drink on the pickup shelf and called the name in a clear voice. "Hi there," Eli said to the new customer, with the same warm tone he gave everyone. "What can I get you today?" The man spoke fast. He wanted a large drink with 2 changes to the standard recipe. He spoke the words in a flat line, eyes still on the watch. Eli repeated the details carefully, making sure it was correct. He wrote the name, spelled it back, and added a small check mark he used as his own note. He turned to pass the cup to the bar. The man cleared his throat and asked how long it would take. Eli looked at the queue on the bar and gave a real estimate. He spoke with care. "We have a few orders ahead. It should be about 7 to 10 minutes. I will keep an eye on it." The man's eyebrows lifted, and he let out a short breath. He looked past Eli as if seeking another person. Eli felt the air change, but he kept his voice steady. He had been trained for moments like this. "Be kind. Be clear. Be quick. Be calm." Keanu watched from his window table. He closed his book and placed a finger inside to mark the page. He stayed seated, not because he did not care, but because he wanted to see if Eli could continue in his rhythm without interrupting. He respected the space of the team. He believed that support could be a quiet presence first, and a voice second. Jana noticed too. She angled her body so she could step in if needed, but she also believed in Eli's training. She had watched him manage busy lines before. She had seen him turn tense moments into steady ones by sticking to the process. She tapped the steam wand, pulled a shot, and listened with one ear toward the counter. The line behind the new customer shifted. A person coughed softly. Someone adjusted a laptop bag. A woman in a blue coat smiled at Eli, a small sign of encouragement. Eli saw it and felt a tiny lift in his chest. He angled the cup correctly and set it down. He explained one more time how the system worked: orders move in sequence, each drink takes a set time, the team wants to serve everyone well. He thanked the customer for understanding. The customer's face stayed tight. He rubbed the corner of his watch with his thumb. "I need it fast," he repeated, his voice sharper now. Eli listened without interrupting. He did not mirror the sharpness. "I hear you," he said softly. "I will watch your order." He turned to help the next person in line, keeping the rhythm. "Greet. Confirm. Repeat. Check. 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 Thank you." Keanu stood up, not to take over, but to move nearer in case a kind presence might help the room breathe. He placed his book in his jacket pocket and took his empty cup to the bin. He walked with that quiet step that does not push the air. He found a place by the pastry case, halfway between the door and the counter, where he could be close without crowding anyone. The lunch rush pressed on. The team moved smoothly. The bell chimed again. A tray of fresh cookies came out, and the sweet smell curled through the line. Eli handed a small sample to a child who looked tired from a morning at school. The child smiled and held up the cookie like a tiny trophy. The room softened by 1 degree. Eli's hands stayed steady. He marked each cup with the same clear letters. He set lids so they were even. He called out names in a cheerful tone. When someone did not hear their name the first time, he called it again without any hint of impatience. He liked being a helper. He liked turning busy moments into small wins. The man with the watch tapped his foot. He looked up at the menu board as if it had done something wrong. He checked his phone. He watched a cup that was not his and frowned when someone else took it. Eli saw the frown and glanced at the bar. He knew where each drink was in the path. He could almost see a small train moving along a track: order, grind, pour, steam, finish. His cup was 3 cars away. "Thank you for waiting," Eli said to a woman with a scarf, handing over a tea with lemon. "You're doing great," she whispered back. Eli gave a tiny nod. He looked at the cup with the watch's name and calculated the steps again. 2 minutes, maybe 3. He checked the lid, set out a sleeve, aligned a napkin. Keanu lifted his eyes toward the counter and then toward Jana. They exchanged a simple look that said, "We are here." He placed his hands in his jacket pockets and watched the way Eli kept the room steady. He thought about how skill shows itself in small, repeated choices. He admired that. The spark came not as a shout, but as a sharp line of words carrying more heat than needed. The man with the watch leaned forward and spoke in a tone that pressed the space between him and Eli. The words were not kind. They suggested that Eli was the reason for the delay. They asked for someone else in a way that did not honor the person standing there. The nearby tables went quiet. The line paused in a small freeze, like a held breath. Eli felt the heat of those words, but he did not let it enter his center. He had a center, and it was built from many days of practice and many people who believed in him. He looked at the man's eyes, not to challenge, but to connect. He spoke in the same steady voice he used with everyone. He repeated the details of the order. He offered a choice: remake, refund, or wait for the drink that was almost ready. His tone was respectful. His words were clear. His hands did not shake. Jana placed a cup under the steam wand, but she watched the counter closely now. She was ready to step forward if needed. She trusted Eli, and she also knew that leadership sometimes means showing up beside someone at the right moment. She waited for one more beat. Keanu took one small step closer, still quiet, still respectful of the team. He did not need to be a hero. He simply wanted to be present in a way that could nudge the room toward care. He watched Eli hold his ground with grace. He watched the line of people read the moment and soften. The child with the cookie looked up at his mother, who gave a tiny shake of the head that meant, "Let's wait." Eli drew in a slow breath he could not even hear. He kept to the steps. Be kind. Be clear. Be quick. Be calm. He placed a fresh lid on the next cup, called out a name, and then turned back to the man with the watch. He said, in a voice like warm tea, "Thank you for your patience. Your drink is almost ready." And the bell on the door chimed again, like the room itself wanted a new start. The room held a soft silence after the sharp words, like a breath no one wanted to release too fast. Eli kept his hands steady. He nodded once and spoke in his calm voice, the one he had practiced many times. He offered the customer a clear set of choices: I can make it fresh again. I can give a refund. Or I can finish the drink that is almost ready. Which do you prefer? The customer looked at his watch. The silver edge caught the light again. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other. "I just want it now," he said. His tone was tight. The people in line looked down at their phones, at the pastry case, at anything but the space between the two men. Jana took one small step forward from the espresso bar. She met Eli's eyes, then the customer's. "Sir," she said gently, "we are moving as quickly as we can. Eli has your order in the queue. We will take good care of you." Her voice had no push in it. It was warm and firm at the same time. The grinder hummed. Steam kissed the milk pitcher and made a soft hiss. A timer on the bar beeped and clicked off. Eli kept track of each sound like notes in a song. He knew where the drink was in the flow. He looked at the lineup of cups and saw the customer's name inching closer to the front. A woman in a blue coat at the middle of the line gave Eli a small nod. It was a simple "you've got this." He returned a grateful smile and turned a lid so it sat flat. Little things mattered to him. They kept his center strong. The customer spoke again, a little louder. "Is there someone else who can handle this?" His eyes moved past Eli, searching for a different face to fix the problem he felt. Eli did not harden. He did not shrink. He stood the same way he stood with every guest. "I am trained to help you," he said softly. "I promise to follow the steps and check everything twice." He added the last line for himself, too. Check everything twice. Keanu watched from his new spot by the pastry case. He kept a gentle, neutral expression. He did not want to turn the moment into a show. He wanted to be ready, in case a good nudge could shift the mood. For now, he believed in the power of a team doing its work with care. Jana kept her hands moving but her attention open. She placed 2 finished cups on the pickup shelf. "Cappuccinos for Maya and Tom," she called, bright and clear. Then she looked back at the counter. "Eli is excellent," she said to the customer. "And I'm right here if you need me." The customer crossed his arms. He breathed out hard. "I asked for extra hot," he said. "I asked for half syrup. I want it correct." The words were not cruel, but they were stiff and heavy. Eli repeated the order details in a steady tone. "Large drink. Extra hot. Half syrup. Your name is on the cup. I will check it before it reaches you." He pointed, not with a stabbing motion, but with an open palm that guided the eyes along the bar. The drink was 2 cups away now. A young man near the door stepped aside to let a person with a stroller pass. The bell chimed again. The sound gave the room a little reset. People shuffled a bit. The line found a better shape. The customer looked at the bar. "That one is mine," he said, pointing to a cup that was not his. The name on it was close, only 2 letters different. Eli looked, checked the letters, and shook his head gently. "That one is for a different guest," he said. "Yours is next." The small correction did not please the customer. He pressed his lips together. "This is taking too long," he said. He was not shouting. He was not using harsh words. But each syllable felt like a small push. Eli saw the train of steps inside his mind: grind, tamp, pull, steam, pour, lid, sleeve, wipe. He waited for the right moment on the track. He wanted to hand the drink over with confidence, not rush and miss a detail. He had promised himself to do the work with the same care at minute 1 and at minute 60. Jana slid a thank you card from the drawer beneath the register. It was a small thing the cafe used when a guest waited longer than expected. On the back, there was a note for 1 free pastry on a future visit. She did not wave it like a prize. She held it between her fingers and waited for the right time. The woman in the blue coat gave a quiet, friendly cough, as if to lighten the air. "Busy day," she said to no one and everyone. A couple of people smiled. A child clicked a toy car on the table and whispered "vroom." The room began to feel a little more like a place to be, not a place to fight the clock. Eli called out another name, placed a tea on the shelf, and turned back. He gave the customer a clear update. "One more cup ahead," he said. "Then yours." He kept eye contact for a moment, then let it go. He had learned that too much staring can make a person tense. The customer uncrossed his arms. He tapped his foot. He looked at the exit, then back at the bar. He seemed to be choosing between leaving and staying. He looked at his watch again, as if it could answer. Keanu's gaze moved from Eli's face to the customer's hands. He watched the tiny pauses, the micro-decisions. He understood that people are sometimes at their worst when they feel late, unseen, or out of control. He also knew that one person's calm can help other people find theirs. Eli glanced at the espresso bar. Jana gave him a small OK sign with her thumb and forefinger. He felt a steady warmth in his chest. He lifted a fresh lid and checked the seal. He set a napkin within easy reach. He was ready. A small spill happened 2 cups down. A thin line of foam slid over a rim. The barista caught it and wiped fast. Eli stepped half a pace to the side and offered a clean sleeve. They shared a quick thanks. These tiny handoffs kept the flow smooth. The customer's cup moved to the front. Eli watched Jana finish the pour. She checked the temperature with a quiet, experienced touch. "Extra hot," she said softly, almost to herself. She added the lid and gave it a gentle press. Then she slid the cup toward Eli. Eli received it like a relay baton. He wiped the side with a fresh cloth, placed the sleeve, made sure the lid was even, and checked the name once more. He stepped to the counter with open body language. "Here you go," he said, voice warm and clear. "Extra hot. Half syrup. Please let me know if you want any small change." The customer took the cup. For a second, his face was neutral. He lifted it and took a careful sip. The room seemed to lean in without moving. It was not a test, exactly. It was a hope that the moment would settle. A small drop formed at the edge of the lid, right by the sip hole. It trembled, then slid. Eli saw it. He lifted a napkin and offered it with a steady hand. "Let me replace that lid," he said. "I'll make sure it's perfect." The customer hesitated. He did not want to admit he needed help with something small. But the napkin was there, and the offer was kind. He allowed the change. Eli moved smoothly, twist, lift, new lid, press, wipe. He passed the cup back and stepped half a pace back to give space. The customer took another sip. The tension in his shoulders went down a fraction. "It's fine," he said, as if the word were hard to find. He did not say thank you. He did not apologize. But he did not push more air into the room. Jana saw the opening. She placed the small thank you card on the counter. "For your patience today," she said in a gentle tone. "We appreciate you." She said it the same way she would to any guest who waited longer than planned. No special music. No spotlight. Just service. The customer looked at the card and then at Eli. He did not pick it up right away. "I have a meeting," he said, softer than before. "I'm late." Eli nodded. "I hope the drink helps," he said. He meant it. In his mind, a good drink could be a small bridge to a better hour. The customer gave a tiny nod and stepped aside. He moved toward the door with the cup held carefully. He had not smiled, but he had not poured more stress into the space either. Sometimes a quiet end is the best end available. The line began to move again in a natural rhythm. People stepped forward in small arcs. The bell chimed once more. The room let out that breath it had been holding. Keanu stayed near the pastry case. He did not go back to his table yet. He looked at Eli with a light in his eyes that said, "Good work." He did not say it out loud, not yet. He watched to see if the moment was truly over or if there was more to do. Eli turned to the next guest. "Hi there," he said, steady as always. "What can I get you today?" His voice did not carry the strain of the last 5 minutes. It carried only the cafe's promise: care, clarity, speed, calm. A woman ordered a simple tea and said, "You handle busy days well." Eli smiled. "Thank you," he said. He wrote her name carefully. He liked to make every letter clear. Names mattered. Jana kept the bar tight. She swapped pitchers, cleared a drip tray, and reset a towel. She felt proud, but she did not bask in it. There was still a line to serve. She watched Eli for signs of tiredness. He looked steady, so she nodded to herself and kept moving. Near the door, the customer paused as if deciding whether to leave or to say something more. He looked back at the counter. His eyes met Eli's for a second. They did not hold long. The moment passed. He turned and pushed the door gently. The bell spoke again in its small, hopeful chime. Keanu breathed out slowly. He had seen a lot of hard moments in public spaces. He had learned that people are complicated and days are uneven. He had also learned that one person's patient work can save a whole room from turning cold. A new person came to the counter. "Hi, Eli," she said. She was a regular. "The usual, please." He smiled and wrote her name. He liked knowing the usuals. It made the cafe feel like a small town in a big city. Jana glanced at the window and saw the man in the cap. She recognized him now, but she kept the recognition inside. She respected the quiet. She lifted her chin in a small hello. He returned the gesture with a warm, closed-lip smile. The pulse of the rush returned to normal. Order. Grind. Pour. Steam. Lids. Sleeves. Names called in bright voices. Small thanks in return. The cafe became itself again. Eli kept his pace. He felt the earlier moment settle in his body like a stone placed carefully on a shelf. It was there, but it did not take over the room in his mind. He had work to do, and he liked the work. Keanu moved a bit closer to the counter now. He waited for the right instant to speak, not to correct anyone, but to build a bridge. He wanted to show Eli the respect he deserved. He wanted to help the room hold that respect a little longer. The woman in the blue coat collected her drink and leaned in. "Good job," she said softly. "You stayed calm." Eli's eyes warmed. "Thank you for being patient," he replied. She smiled and stepped away. The customer with the silver watch had left, but his presence still felt like a small echo. The team knew that one tense moment can stick in the air unless someone replaces it with something better. Keanu sensed that too. He looked at the menu board for a second, then back at Eli. The idea formed in his mind, simple and kind: make the next minute a shared reset. Not a show. Not a grand speech. Just a clear, human gesture that turns the page. He took one step closer to the counter and waited for Eli to finish with a guest. The cafe's rhythm shaped itself around this quiet, new note. The room seemed ready for it. It was the kind of small moment that, if handled with care, could lift everyone. Eli turned toward him with his steady smile. "Hi there," he said. "What can I get you today?" And the way he asked it, open, warm, and sure, told Keanu the timing was perfect for what came next. Keanu smiled in a small, quiet way that warmed the space around him. He stepped to the counter when Eli turned with his steady greeting. "Hi there. What can I get you today?" Eli asked, the same way he asked every person. His voice did not carry the stress of the rush. It carried the cafe's promise. "I'll take the same drink as the guest before me," Keanu said, gentle and clear. "Extra hot. Half syrup. And I'd love for you to make it just the way you do." He said it like a trust, not a test. His eyes were kind. His posture was open. He placed his card on the counter and nodded once, as if to say, "No hurry. I'm good." Eli wrote the order carefully. He repeated the details, the way he always did. He liked to make sure nothing was missed. He placed the cup on the bar in the right spot. The letters were neat. The lid waited beside it like a promise. Jana heard the order and felt a soft lift inside. She moved with a bit more ease, like a violinist who knows the melody is about to rise. She called out a name for another guest, set 2 cups on the shelf, and turned the steam wand with a smooth, calm motion. Keanu leaned a little closer, but not into anyone's space. "I appreciate how you work," he said to Eli. "You keep it steady. That helps everyone." He meant it. He knew that steady water can smooth rough stones. A few people in line looked up. They did not recognize the man in the cap at first. They just registered the tone of his words. It was the kind of tone that slows a room in a good way. The kind that says, "We can choose calm." The woman in the blue coat smiled at Eli. "Nice choice," she said to Keanu, playful but gentle. The child with the toy car whispered vroom again, softer now, like the sound of a small engine that is happy to idle. Keanu glanced at the tip jar, then at Eli. "Also," he said, "I'd like to cover the next 3 drinks behind me. Consider it a little thank you to the room for patience." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't make a scene. He just slid his card a fraction of an inch closer and let Jana handle the rest. Jana blinked, surprised and grateful. "That's very kind," she said. She kept her tone simple. No spotlight. No big announcement. She quietly marked the POS to comp the next 3 orders and gave Eli a tiny nod, the kind of nod that means, "Let's keep the flow." The grinder hummed again. Steam whispered. The cafe song returned to its regular